Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Ape Escape. In the last trip we started off World 6 and got through 2 of the 3 worlds, and now we're entering this world's equivalent to Crumbling Castle, the longest stage in the world and second longest stage in the game. Well actually maybe third, I can never tell whether or not this Crumbling Castle is longer. Either way, welcome to the TV tower. TV Tower is interesting to me because it's about the same length, if not a little bit longer or shorter than Crumbling Castle. Of course, I forget which way is which. But it's a lot closer to how the other stages that are more linear play. There's nowhere near as much free roaming around. There are some optional monkeys, yes, but there's also fewer monkeys here than in either the other 2 longest stages in the game. If anything, the main reason this one is longer than a lot of the other stages is that this is one of the only other stages that has an outright boss fight at the end of it. And we'll get to that fight when we get to it. Either way, the stage is also infamous for killing me a lot when I was really young because it has one of the earliest green monkeys within a stage length, because there's just one right here and you do need to go see this one. Because that switch right over there we need to hit to drain the pool that is on the other side of that fan. We need to do that because there's a switch down there alongside some other monkeys we need to get in order to access another doorway that we can't at the moment. Again, my recommendation for taking care of enemies moving forward, if they're especially dangerous ones like the sunglasses wearing monkeys with machine guns and hand grenades, or the green monkeys with the missiles, you take good advantage of the RC car. Because you can either use them as a distraction for the monkeys so that you can just walk up behind them and whack them with either the club or the net, or you can use them to actively take the hits for you in some cases. There is some amount of splash damage in the game, like say if the RC car detonated something, I believe the explosion from either the RC car itself or what it's exploding against would still hurt you, but you can still use it as a human shield, so to speak, in certain cases. Also, there's a monkey here that took me a while to figure out how to get. See this guy? You can ground pound him. That's actually something we've learned we could do way back at the start of the water world, but I don't really talk about. If you jump and then press, I believe it's both the sticks in, maybe it's just R3 in, you do a little ground pound move. It doesn't do any extra damage. In fact, if anything, it's only really good for centering yourself above a platform that you're scared you might accidentally overshoot for some reason or another. It is barely useful in combat. It's only really useful for knocking enemies down off of grates like that, which even then, you can use the slingshot to do the exact same thing. I forget if later games gave it more prevalence by having it do extra things via the extra abilities added in the sequels. Because, to be frank, I don't recall using it much there either. Now, you want to be careful and climb on this green pipe that's pretty thin, because there's a Spectre coin on top of this. I believe by this point in the game, if you haven't unlocked... I'm surprised I hit that. I believe by this point, if you haven't gotten enough Spectre coins to unlock the third minigame, you'll definitely have them by the end of next part. Because, again, you don't need to get quite a few of them to get you can get the third minigame without a surprising number of them. As long as I believe you've cleared both the Jake races, you don't have to worry about much at all in terms of actively missing those minigames. And even then, it's not like you're missing much. Although I say that, but my favorite of the minigames is definitely the third minigame. Because I don't like the first 2 much at all. We'll get more into that because I do show them off before the end of the game. Why am I hugging the wall? Okay, I guess you know what? I think I know exactly what that was. That was me looking at Discord DMs. Because I was looking at some important stuff at the time. Admittedly, there are times where it's easier to disguise whether or not I'm looking at, like, say, my notes or Discord in the game, because usually I can edit around it better. Sometimes when it's a game like this, you just see me hug a wall a bit too much, and you go, oh, okay, he's looking slightly off-screen for whatever reason. And here we have the only other appearance of the tank in the game. And despite this looking like a very perilous pathway you can fall off, you'll only fall into a bottomless pit death if you fall off the platform that's below us. With that said, you also don't need to worry about falling down too much because there's an elevator on either side of this room that'll take the tank up to the top. With that said, you can only activate the further elevator after getting to it getting to the top of it with the tank anyway. So make sure you play your cards a little carefully here. Not that these weird parasect enemies stand much of a chance to tank missiles, but I'll take it. Yeah, hit that switch, and that elevator is now active. You can use it to go up and down. And before we go up that elevator, we want to climb up this way. That elevator actively leads to the boss fight. I say this is one of the longest levels in the game. It's mostly just due to how many monkeys are in it, because this is one of the rare over 10 monkey levels. At least for Ape Escape 1. And we want to go over here to get, I believe, a total of like 4 or 5 of them, counting this one right here. They do kind of place the monkeys unevenly in some Ape Escape levels, and that goes into later games as well. Like, I immediately think of one particular ice level in Ape Escape 3. There's a bunch in one section, then it's like a dry spell for like, it feels like 10 minutes, then you get like another 4 or 5. With that said, this is easily one of the most dangerous rooms in the game. We have these robot enemies that I haven't even talked about, which home in on you, but you can take them out pretty easily with the slingshot. You want to shoot that switch over there to activate that platform on the top of us, or right above us, rather. That'll allow us to reach the other platform in this room, and this is where things get dangerous. Because in the center of this room, beneath the platform we're about to jump on, is a bottomless pit. While you stand on this platform, it slowly sinks. Jumping can stagnate that, but still, you gotta be kind of careful. Jumping on the switch will make it raise back up. If you go too far down, you automatically die. With that said, there are 2 monkeys climbing the pipes here that you can knock down slightly, but you kind of just gotta try and time a jump with the net to grab. I've never liked grabbing these 2 monkeys. Not that you need to, because there's even 3 monkeys in that previous room anyway that you can grab, so you don't need to come into here to unlock that elevator at all. I'm just doing this because I want to get 100% as fast as I can. What makes this so dangerous is the reason that you die is you see those fans there, you get blown up the ledge. And even then, sometimes when you're nowhere near the fans, you'll still get slightly blown if you're near the switch, I've noticed. The wind is impossible to fight back against as far as I know. Even if you're using the super hoop, you will die to it eventually no matter what. It's just a matter of how low you have to go for it to happen to you. The problem is, there's a monkey below the fans. So, we somehow need to get those fans turned off. Thankfully, that window has a clearly marked bullseye, so you can probably figure out what's about to happen here. Oh, God. Again, the wind is extremely powerful. You cannot fight against that air current. But we want to come in here, destroy those computers, and then hit this switch. The switch actually allows you to return back to the start of the room, but hitting the computer is the important thing because it turns those fans off, meaning we can now go get the monkey that's down there. But that's since I died, the platform's back all the way up there, so we kind of need to go fix that. I distinctly remember reaching this room for the first time and honestly feeling oddly scared because it's the first time in Ape Escape 1 at least that you get this level of like modern machinery. Yeah, you technically get it back in the factory level, but in this level it's especially just such complete whiplash after being in like the green tank area and just the TV studio building that looks relatively realistic. You just get to this oddly like, oh, what was the name of the ship level in Banjo-Kazooie 1? The place with the annoying engine room. It's very engine room-esque from Banjo-Kazooie. And here you can see what I mean about the wind still slightly affecting you even if it's turned off or if you're nowhere near it. Sometimes the collision here just doesn't exactly work right. With that said, now we can head back to the previous room and actually take care of stuff there. Because while we can enter the elevator to go to the boss fight, there are, I think, 2 or 3 monkeys hidden in this room we haven't grabbed, as well as one of the level's Spectre coins. So we got a little bit of a collection run to go through. With that said, it's pretty easy to do. because you just need to blow up anything that looks like it could be blown up, and you'll find both the monkeys and the Spectre coin with relative ease. Hell, depending, as you can see right there, you'll see what's even inside the box before you get too close to it, because collision was a little weird on the PlayStation, although that could be the emulator. I'm not entirely certain. I am not super well versed enough with especially PlayStation games and how well some of them run on console versus emulator to tell you when something's an emulator issue, when something's a bug in the game itself. Unless it's like a super well-known bug, like, say, the magic defense glitch in Final Fantasy VII or something like that. Like, that's consistent just because they programmed the game poorly. Also, something I haven't even talked about yet. The monkeys, when you're chasing them, can throw bananas. They don't do damage, but they do make you trip if you step right on them and make you lose distance on the monkey. But I don't find them to be much of a threat here in Ape Escape 1 because their hitbox is so obtusely tiny that hitting it feels more like an unlikelihood than anything. And here's the rare case of me using the monkey radar, despite me knowing where every monkey is. Because sometimes when monkeys go places a little weird, like sometimes they'll return to their initial spawn location if you leave them alone long enough. Sometimes they'll run back there of their own accord if you chase them enough. Monkey AI is weird, is the point here, and that applies to real life as well. With that said, that is every monkey we can grab here in the level. Barring the final monkey, but we can't get that until we get that oh-so-special post-final boss tool that I've foreshadowed quite a few times at this point. Again, don't like how they did that. So let's head up here and head up to this other elevator and see what we got beyond there. I do recommend using this cookie jar to restore your health if you need it because, well, honestly, I think you are going to need it unless you are super familiar with the game. Also, this oddly reminds me of a level from Sonic Adventure.
Oh, Spike!
Spike!
Professor, Natalie, I'm here. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here.
Oh, no, you don't. I still need them to help me, so they're not going anywhere. Ah! You're really starting to bug me.
I'll never cooperate with you, Spectre.
Yeah! And when we get out of here, you'll be sorry.
Take them away.
Yes.
Stop it! Let go of us! Hey, look at us! Snap out of it!
Let him go!
Now you really made me mad. It's time to get rid of you once and for all.
Our next boss fight is Spectre's airship here, which is more of a long fight than the previous one against the Knight, but definitely easier because for the most part it just slowly rotates around the top of the field firing missiles at you. With that said, where it goes from there can be a little bit random. Sometimes it'll go up high in the air and do a charge attack at you, which I believe it does usually in lower health. It can cause a bunch of wind to fall on the stage, pushing you backwards, in which case it can fire UFOs out at you that will track onto you and try to just bump into you, but if you just do a spin attack and keep that spin attack going, they can't really hit you. It can also fire out fire, which will cover randomly 2/4 of the middle square of the stage. It can either cover the full left, the full right, or any combination of like extreme left, extreme right, or so on and so forth. Just 2 of the 4 divided sections of that center square, essentially. When it does about 2 or 3 volleys of its attacks each, it'll spawn some more UFOs, but a green dot will become accessible towards the main cannon. At that point, you can super hoop up to it to do some damage. Also notable, the further you get into the fight, it eventually starts doing the charge attack I mentioned, where it'll just kind of hesitate in the air and then try to more or less ram you. When it's doing that ram attack, the green light you're supposed to hit will also be there, and you can hit it at that point for additional damage. But it's a super precise attack I usually find. I'm not good at doing it at all. This is the charge attack. It blows itself up slightly, then looks at you, and then goes, "I'ma jump ya!" And also, when it does that jump, it does leave a giant bomb that leaves a gigantic explosion radius that shockwaves across the floor, but you can just jump or propeller over that. It's weird. This is a longer fight than the Knight, just because of how many rounds it takes to attack and all that. But I find it's honestly the easier fight because you don't have to be on active guard nearly as much as you do during the Knight fight. It's kind of bland, though. I like the character design. I'm only just now realizing that there's basically a built-in Peepo helmet on it now that I look at it. The red light siren on top is just the siren from the helmets. Huh. I don't think I ever realized that. Again, like I mentioned 2 parts ago, the biggest shortcoming of Ape Escape 1, barring some weird level stuff here and there, is easily its boss fights. Ape Escape 2 take these and run with them by even having unique character personalities for them. They're no longer just, alright, here's a mech of some sort, you have fun. I feel like if the wind was maybe more of a threat, this fight could also be more interesting. Like, say, if it could actively push you off the ledge if you were too close to the center of the stage, that could be not harder. Well, it would be harder, but it would be more interesting because then at least it would force you to use your tools. Because Ape Escape in general, I find, is no stranger or not afraid to just force you to use certain tools exclusively in order to figure out a certain environment or a certain puzzle. But they start doing that more so in Ape Escape 2 than Ape Escape 1. Especially because Ape Escape 2 has some weapons and tools that are just borderline keys. But yeah, this stage where this boss is always reminded me a bit of that one stage from Sonic Adventure. Radical Highway, that's the name of it. Particularly the Tails section where you're racing Eggman to the missile. I gotta get back to the Sonic games at some point for the 3D stuff. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Once it starts flashing red, you know you're almost done with the fight. Again, I feel like they could have cut the amount of health for a lot of these bosses down just to make it a bit more on the tolerable side. At least for the Knight from 2 parts ago and this airship. The final boss, I think, has a fair amount of health. Same with the boss fight that's between this and there. Also, no boss music, which always feels a little weird no matter what game it's in, honestly. Also, I know exactly why, but I'm also eerily reminded of Yakuza. Namely, the top of the Millennium Tower, where a bunch of stuff happens throughout the Kiryu saga, to put it lightly.
Well done. I am impressed. I can't believe you made it this far.
That's right. I won't be beaten by you. Now return all my friends.
I'm not giving up that easily. I just had another brilliant thought. So I have to run now, but I'll see you later. You can be sure of that. See ya!
Hey, wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Wait!
And that's the TV tower. Yes. As a level, it's technically shorter than either of the 2 other longest stages of the game. It's only really one you do the boss fight through on the first time and go for as many monkeys as you can on the first time that it actively becomes a longer level. And it's weird, in some ways, structure-wise, it's closer to the usual level set length. It's just that there's a few more monkeys here than normal that really just extends it. Still, we are more or less at endgame. With that, we now have access to the final level of the game. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 9, we start off the final level. We do not finish the final level. See you guys then.